What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for not just one, but two album reviews. Both kind of brief, but both albums that I highly recommend you guys check out. I decided to double up on them, not because they're the exact same genre or anything like that, but they're two lesser known bands, and I feel like you guys tend to skip over those, so I feel like if I pack two artists into one video, maybe you guys will be that much more inclined to go check out some awesome, new, and potentially undiscovered music. Today I'll be discussing the new album from PUP, a Canadian punk rock band. The new album is called The Dream Is Over, and that's a quote lifted directly from the lead singer's doctor after blowing out his vocal cords. The dream is not over, apparently, as the band goes on. I'll also be reviewing the new Car Seat Headrest, Teens of Denial, follow-up to Teens of Style EP, their second release for their label, and one that I'm maybe not quite as crazy as some of my contemporaries, peers, and music fans in general, but I still wanted to give it a recommendation. Let's start off with the PUP album. I had never experienced PUP's music before this. I had seen my friend Paige backstage, who many of you guys might know on YouTube. She had been tweeting about them, picked up their record, actually 2 copies of the new record, and I was thinking, well, you know, I have to give this at least a listen, and I'm so glad that I did, because this is easily one of my favorite records of the year. It mixes like a meltdown phase and just the anger felt possibly because you're told that you can't do something and you want to do it just as bad. It mixes that with a blend of punk rock, some new poppier elements, some more alternative rock, and upon going back and hearing their first album for the first time, I feel like this one even builds upon it. Maybe I haven't spent enough time with that first record yet, and I'm sure that there's going to be arguments on both sides of the fence, but this is a fantastic 30-minute LP. The album starts off in spectacular fashion with a song that I'm surprised I haven't heard someone write before. It's called If This Tour Doesn't Kill You, I Will. And I think it's such a clever song because you don't hear people talking about this side of the bands. Yes, maybe you talk about being tired, you're on the road, you miss your family, but you're talking about the tensions within a band and just being with a group of guys or girls in a van, in a bus, and you're on the road for months at a time, and you're talking about losing your sanity, going crazy on somebody else just because you can't even stand to look at their face anymore because you're around them so much. Cuts like Old Wounds just ooze of like a relationship story that we might not know in full, but we can see that they are feeling some particular anger. And he's like, if you want to know if I'm still a prick, well, I am. And it's just shouted. I love how vicious that track is. It just feels like somebody's been wronged big time, and then they come back with a song like this, and you're just like, oh shit. From there, the band slices into several different styles, and it's not just conformity to the punk genre. There definitely are outside influences, and you see that in moments like the closer that starts off a little bit slower, Pine Point. Just a fantastic track that I think sends this album out on the perfect note. Old Wounds changes things up a little bit as well. Sleep in the Heat, probably my least favorite track on here just because I don't really care for the sing-along style that's going on there. They nail that vibe on much of it, and I feel like they're helping carry their vocalist in his tough time, but that one was kind of a letdown for me. I do really enjoy some of the tracks that come, especially in the heart of this thing. I think track number 5 is easily my favorite, the one that I've been leaving on repeat the most, and it's called The Coast, and it's an absolute meltdown on the chorus. Just some of the yelling and just some of the temper tantrum styles that it feels like it's having. It's like somebody spiraling out of control, and I could not love that more. They absolutely nail that vibe. I'm loving the sarcasm that my life is over and I couldn't be happier kind of wears with this sneaky smile. It presents itself as maybe a little bit on the nose, but at the same time, you can see that they're kind of smirking through this song, and it plays out beautifully. PUP rarely miss on The Dream Is Over, and it's a fantastic, easy to swallow pill that goes down in 30 minutes and begs to be replayed. One of my favorite records of the year. I'm going with a 4.5 for PUP's album. Album number 2 on the chopping block today is Teens of Denial, the new one from Car Seat Headrest. I never really listened to these guys either, but I saw the recommendations. I didn't watch the full reviews, but I had a few friends in the review community saying definitely give these guys a listen. It started off as just the solo recording project of Will Toledo. He's out of Virginia, a state just above mine, and I kind of wish that I had known about him being in the area area sooner. Might have gone to some of those early shows. After doing some research on Car Seat Headrest, I saw where they got their name from, Toledo recording a lot of the early demos in the backseat of his car, and that they had gained a lot of critical and fan success over the years, building up kind of a cult following. And I think that this is probably going to be their breakthrough album. They become a full-fledged band now. You can really tell on some of the tracks, you can hear them playing around. They were talking like, oh, I nailed that take or else I fucked up that take. Don't use that. And he's like, oh, fuck. And it's kind of funny to see them playing around on some of these songs. They are lengthy, and this album clocks in at over an hour and 10 minutes long. And yes, it gets tedious at points. I have a struggle paying attention in parts, and that could partially be due to me being so ADD in this technology-ridden world. Curse technology's distractions to hell. I had to push all that aside and truly digest this record. It took a while. At least 5 listens is what I would say this album needs. That's just me. I think everybody is different. Some people might click with it instantly, and there were songs that really did grip me right out of the gate. I remember hearing Vincent and then immediately messaging Spectrum Pulse and saying, thank you so much for this recommendation. This song is incredible, and I feel like this will probably make my top 50 best songs of the year list. It's packed with these powering riffs that stagger between quiet and a nice dynamic of loud sounds, just crunching guitars that rollick their way in, and I wish that we had seen more of that on this project. Now, I do feel like we get a lot of moments here that are just packed full of some more indie, lo-fi stuff that power up as it goes, and I would like to see a little bit more on the guitar side of things, at least in terms of fury and unleashing, but we do get a nice balance between the kind of quiet, soft dynamic. The production does seem reminiscent of lo-fi in places, but overall it's a little bit more polished than some of the early work that I have heard from them whenever I was listening through to a few songs here and there to prepare for this review. I think that they kind of hit the nail on the head with their new record though, and I'm understanding why people seem to be hyping this up so much. There's incredible songs here that make use of a lot of different instruments. There's thick bass layers, like on the track 1937 State Park. I'm loving the keyboard additions on that one. Almost feels like something out of Daft Punk's playbook, and it just totally threw me for a loop, but in the best way possible. Cosmic Hero really just hits home with that powering outro, and it might get a little bit repetitive, but I feel like it gains traction as it goes and really becomes one of the best songs on the LP, transitioning nicely into one of my favorite songs that I already mentioned, Connect the Dots. One reason I did review Car Seat Headrest along with PUP is that I feel like they do have something big in common, and that's the self-awareness aspect. I like that they have that going on. They're very straightforward with their lyrical content, kind of on the nose with the storytelling and the way they present their songs, and they kind of package it with sarcasm and a smile from time to time whenever they're getting out what they want to say. You see that on tracks here, like Destroyed by Hippie Powers, and he's saying, call my mom, tell her I was destroyed by hippie powers. You're probably thinking that sounds totally silly, but I think at the same time it's meant to in order to get that kind of style across. You've got the longer and shorter sides of things on this record. On the shorter, you've got the opener, like Fill in the Blank, which I feel like is a really good start to this record. I can't say I'm totally in love with it, but it's definitely solid enough. And then I find myself falling in love with the 8+ minute track Unforgiving Girl, which comes near the end of this album and might get a little bit repetitive like some of these other tracks that I mentioned that kind of build off of that though. And some of these riffs kind of loop, they kind of build into things, they really ease you in on tracks like that. And of course Vincent as well. I really like the edit for the music video a lot better because it really just gets into it a lot more, and then we hear more of those explosive riffs. But I understand what they were going for there, a kind of a natural aura and atmosphere that they really wanted to nail, and I think for that sake they do get the job done. Overall though, I can't say that I'm completely entertained. I do find myself kind of zoning out in places, and I think that that might be a struggle for others as well. But if you have the time to sit down and listen to an hour and 10 minute record, I do give it my recommendation. For me personally, I'm going to go with a strong 3.5 for the new Car Seat Headrest, Teens of Denial. Have you guys heard either the new PUP or the new Car Seat Headrest albums? Let me know your thoughts on them in the comment section down below. If you have, don't forget to smash the like button while you're here. Subscribe to the channel because friends don't let friends go unsubscribed. If you're curious, you can help support me by donating on Patreon, the top link in the description down below. Help these videos keep coming. Really trying to gain some traction over there so I can start releasing some new series. Thanks so much for watching. If you would like to see another review that you might like, or the last album that I reviewed right here on this channel, you can click those annotations below me. Find me at my social media links in the description down below. Other than that, I will see you guys very soon right here on ARTV.